Hey, what's going on, my fellow idiots? Welcome back for another episode of Idiot Proof Cooking. So today I'm going to be making scallop potatoes because Meg was craving something potato-y. Now, full disclosure, I throw cheese in my scallop potatoes, which would technically make these potatoes au gratin, but I grew up with cheese in my scallop potatoes and we didn't call them anything but scallop potatoes. So that's what we're making today. So the first thing we're going to want to do is get out some potatoes. So get out 7 or 8 small to medium-sized potatoes. I'm using yellow potatoes here. And hey, you don't have to use yellow potatoes, you can use whatever kind you want. And the goal is to thin them slicely. Slice them thinly. What the hell was thin them slicely? Yeah, slice them thinly. Now, obviously, the easiest way to do that is with a mandolin. If you don't have one, you can certainly accomplish this with a knife, but it's way easier with a mandolin. And then once you've sliced up 3 to 4 potatoes pretty thinly, go get out a 10-inch cast iron pan like the ceramic coated one I'm using here. And we're going to lay down a base layer of potatoes, because what we're going to do is potatoes and then onions and cheese and then more potatoes. So there's our base layer. Now, before we move any further, let's head into the kitchen and make our creamy sauce. So in a frying pan on a medium heat, start off by adding in 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter, and then once it melts, pour in 4 tablespoons of all-purpose flour because we're going to make a roux. Get out your trusty whisk and whisk the flour and butter together until they're thoroughly combined, and then once they are, just let this cook for 30 seconds to a minute on the medium heat just to cook off the raw flour flavor. It's at this point in time we're going to introduce some whole milk. Now we're going to add in 2.5 cups of whole milk, but we want to do it slowly. So slowly pour in the milk, just a little drizzle at a time, continuously whisking it in with the roux. And as you can see, the milk is starting to thicken up. Once you've poured in about half the milk, just go ahead and add in the rest of it, and then just continually whisk this for the next 3 to 5 minutes on the medium heat, and you'll see that it starts to thicken up and form into a nice creamy sauce. Once it's started to thicken up a little bit, we're going to start adding in some spices. I'm going to add in a good amount of kosher salt first off. There we go. And then we're going to add in some freshly ground black pepper. Add in as much or as little as you want. I'm going to throw in a few twists of that. And then I'm also going to add in a tablespoon of garlic powder to make this nice and garlicky. Whisk the spices in, and then you're pretty much ready to go. You'll know that it's done when you can dunk a spoon in the sauce and it coats the back of this spoon. All right, let's head back out to the potatoes. So we've got our base layer of potatoes. Now I'm going to then add on a good handful of finely chopped up white onion. You don't have to add the onion in. Some people prefer their scalloped potatoes without onion. I'm going to add it in. And then after the onions, I'm going to put on a generous helping of low moisture mozzarella on top. I am then going to go get our creamy sauce here and pour that on top. There we go. Make sure it's good and coated. You want to use about half of it on top of the first layer of potatoes. Set that aside for a moment, and then we're going to get some more thinly sliced potatoes and put a second layer on top because it's going to be 2 layers. This is what you're aiming to do. Once you've added the potatoes on, again with some more diced up onions and then some more cheese. This is going to be really good. So add on a good amount of mozzarella cheese again, and then last but not least, the remaining amount of your creamy sauce. Throw that on top. So at this point in time, you're going to want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit because we're going to bake this. Let me just give you a close-up shot of it. It looks fantastic. It's coming together really well. Now, what we want to do is bake this for about 40 to 50 minutes, depending on the efficiency of your oven. So I'm going to bake it for the first 30-35 minutes covered with tin foil, and then after the 35 minutes I'm going to take the tin foil off and cook the scalloped potatoes uncovered for another 10 to 15 minutes. That's going to give the cheese some time to crisp up and get some nice little golden brown spots, much like this. Look at that. It looks fantastic and it smells so good. Man, those scalloped potatoes turned out awesome. Look at those. Oh man, they are awesome. All right, now we got to let these cool down for about 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm just going to rest them on top of one of my oven mitts here and let them cool down. After about 15 minutes, it's time to dig in. So I'm just going to scoop myself out some here. They retain their heat really well, as you can see. So even after 15 minutes, and they're still piping hot. But let's scoop some out here. Another little scoop. There we go. They are nice and creamy and cheesy. Oh, did I say how good they smell? Because, man, they smell awesome. I think Meg and the kids are going to love these. All right, let me give you a quick close-up shot of the dish here. These are beautiful looking, just gorgeous scallop potatoes. And let's stop talking about them and just go in and taste test them. So I'm just going to get a nice little crispy bit here first with some potato. And oh yeah, those are good. They are so good. You get the nice oniony flavor, and they're cheesy, and the creamy sauce gave it a bit of a garlicky flavor too. The potatoes are nice and tender. That's always a fine line to walk with scallop potatoes. Like if you don't cook them long enough, the potatoes are still going to be kind of crunchy and hard, and that's just going to suck. And if you cook them for way too long, then they're just going to turn into mush. So it's a fine line to walk, but these are so nice and cheesy, which I know technically makes them potatoes au gratin, but like I said at the beginning of the video, I grew up with cheesy scallop potatoes and we call them scallop potatoes, so I'm just going to continue calling them scallop potatoes. And you know what? Cheese or no cheese, it is an awesome dish to make. So let's call it there. I hope you like what you saw here today, and if you did, why don't you drop me a comment, like the video, or even subscribe to the channel. Thanks again for watching Idiot Proof Cooking, and we'll see you again next time.